Hey everybody, well this is part two in a series of trying to get this old 66 F100 on the road within a month. And if you haven't seen my previous videos, you can go back and watch them. But I bought a Dodge pickup that somebody had put a Ford FE engine and transmission in. So pulled the engine and transmission out of that Dodge. The transmission I'm not sure about, so I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use this transmission that was in the truck, and I'm going to use the engine that I pulled out of the Dodge, which is a good Ford FE engine, and swap it with this one, put it in that truck, and see if I can get it done within a month. And I apologize for the audio on part one of this series. I'm going to start wearing my microphone more often as I can when I'm doing these videos. It's just my phone was, battery was dying on my phone, so I kept charging it, and I didn't realize that sound quality was going to be so bad. So from now on, if my phone dies, I'll just charge it, and if I do take video while I'm charging it, it'll be, stuff where I'm working on this, not really a speaking video. So, apologize. I'm going to try to get some better equipment, camera equipment and stuff too. So, bear with me. Like I said, I'm still learning at these YouTube videos and trying to get better. And I'm learning as I go. But, I'm going to try to improve on the sound quality. That has been a recurring issue in my videos. Alright, so that being said, let's get started pulling this transmission off of this engine that came out of the 66. I'm going to check the front seal in it. The rear seal seems to be good. It wasn't leaking, and still seems to be pliable. Doesn't seem to be dry rotted or cracked. I'll check the front seal, make sure it's still good. Now I'll go ahead and replace the filter in the transmission. And I may have one here already. If not, I can run to the parts house and get one. But anyways, let's get started. Well, I was hoping to get the engine attached to the transmission and get them in the truck today. But I've got to go to town and get some supplies. I need oil, transmission fluid, oil filter, transmission pan, gasket, filter, and front and rear seals. The rear seal seems to be okay, but the front seal, there's a lot of oil in there. It looks like it's been leaking. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it. While I'm at it, I'll go ahead and put the rear seal in on the transmission. And so I won't get it in today, maybe tomorrow. But other things I can do, I can swap over this oil filter mount, because this one points out to the side where that one points down. And I'm not sure that one would clear the cross member. And I may go ahead and measure the stroke on that engine, find out for sure if it is a 390. But I did find out this is a C6. I thought it was a C4, and I thought that one was a C4. But this one I know is a C6 because it's got a 17 bolt pan. A C4 will have 11 bolts. Alright, let's get busy. Alright, finally got that nut off of there, and I didn't ding up the threads on the stud sticking out of the torque converter too bad. So that'll work. I don't know why that was on there so tight. Okay, I'll show you guys what I had to do here. These nuts, I had to grind them off. There's one of them, and the other one is right here. Two of them came off just fine. Those two were stuck tighter than a dirty word. I got into the threads of the studs here just a little bit, but not too bad. I think it'll be all right. They shouldn't have had to have been that tight. But I've still got these two studs that are still good threads. So it'll be all right. Man, that was a pain getting off there. And as far as two more replacement nuts, I can take two off of that transmission because they're the same thing, pretty much. The nuts are. All right, I finally got it off there. Now, this is what I was talking about, why I think it needs a new front seal. Because all this right here and this right here, this is the bottom. I've got it turned up on its side right now because I was looking at the pan. But I think that seal is bad. Okay, well, today is Sunday, March 14th. Didn't get much done yesterday. I spent most of the day running around gathering supplies. Got some oil, antifreeze, some seals, front and rear seals for the transmission, oil filter, and I bought a patch kit I'm going to try on this header where it's got the crack in it right at the collector. Because it's real thin metal. I'm afraid if I try to weld it up, it'll just blow through it. So I'll try this patch kit and see. And I think it'll work. And transmission filter and pan gasket, I had to order off internet. And they'll be here tomorrow. I can go ahead and put the seals in and get the pan ready to come off, clean up some of the dirt and everything around the edge of the pan so it don't fall in when I pull the pan off. And then we'll see if we can patch up this header and make it work. Not sure what this brass bushing is for. Man, look at this. Is that perfect or what? Darn near it. I very rarely say perfect, but man, it's just what I need. Safety first. Okay, I've got the front and rear seal in the transmission, but for now, I'm going to see if I can patch this header. Yeah, if you look right there, that crack. See if we can seal that up. All right, that's what this stuff is. So, see if it'll work. Got the headers squared away now. I just need to brush that one and clean it up a little bit. But I'm going to wait till that stuff dries so I don't mess it up. Then I'll brush it up, get it ready. And then I think I'll go ahead and pull this pan off, get it cleaned up, and paint it. All right, sorry if this sounds a little quiet. I've got my phone on charger right now and I'm not able to plug in my microphone. Found these in the pan when I pulled the pan off the transmission here. This, I found out, is a plug they put in the dipstick tube to pressure test them at the factory. So that pan hasn't been off since factory. And this was laying in the bottom of the pan, and found out that's part of the adjuster for one of the bands. So I've got to pull the valve body off and reinstall this if I can, if it's not damaged. All right, I hope you can hear me okay. Yeah, found out that wedge that was in there is part of the band adjustment. So I've got that put back in. Just gonna clean up the valve body a little bit and spray it down and put it back in. Okay, I had to look up on YouTube, find out how to adjust the band, because that one little wedge that was in the pan was part of the adjustment for the band. And I bet you that's why the truck was parked by the guy I bought it from. So we're gonna torque it down 120 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds of torque, then back off 1.5 rounds. Okay, should be torqued right now. Well, got a little bit done today. Got the seals in the front and rear of the transmission. Pulled the pan. Found out because of this right here, that pan has never been off. Nobody's ever changed the fluid or the filter. And I'm pretty sure this is a 68 model C6. So it's been needing a fluid change for a long time. And the other part I found in there, that wedge, I've got it back in there on the band. Looked up on YouTube, found a video, told me to torque the band to 120 inch-pounds of torque, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds, then back it off 1.5 rounds. So the band seems a little loose, but that's what he said in the video. So, and I checked it several times just in case it was binding somewhere. Went to 120, click, backed it off a round or two, then went back to 120, click, made sure it clicked in the same spot every time. And then I was pretty confident that it's right now. Got it to 120, click, backed off 1.5, so it should be set. But I bet you that wedge coming off the band like that is why this truck was parked over 20 years ago. I'd almost guarantee it. All right, now we got a storm coming in tomorrow. It's supposed to start raining fairly early in the morning. I've already got the hood scoop on the Torino covered since it's parked outside. And I don't want to leave this door open with the truck sitting halfway in and out, so I'm going to air up the tires. I think those two tires on that side are low. And get all my tools, nuts and bolts and everything off of it. I'm going to roll it outside, and it'll be fine out there. Okay, well, I'm going to clean up the pan for the transmission, spray a little paint on it, and just because it had some bare metal showing and a little bit of rust. So I'll clean it up so it'll last longer. Then I may be able to clean up the valve body a little bit some today, but not going to get much accomplished today, but we'll see what we can get done. All right, well, I got one coat on there now. This is just some old paint I bought by mistake one day, just gloss dark walnut. Meant to buy black, and I I happened to grab the can next to the black, or that was in the wrong spot on the shelf. So wound up with that. It's still dirt and everything that I painted over, but I don't care. It's just to help keep it from rusting. Too bad for now. Eventually, this truck will get a full restoration, and I'll put a new transmission in it or have a rebuilt transmission. So I'd like to put a 3-speed back in it like it originally had. But yeah, for now, this will do. And let that dry, put another coat on it here in a little while. And should serve its purpose. Okay, I got about 3 coats on that. That'll do for now. May put one more coat on it before I take it inside if it doesn't rain here too soon. And I got the valve body cleaned up best I can. Cleaned up the gasket surface on the bottom of the transmission and sprayed some of that crud out of the bottom of there a little bit better. So I don't know if this transmission's going to work, but we're going to try it. Maybe it will. Maybe that stuff there will help it. Oh, I did get something else in the mail today. I ordered one of these old saddle blanket seat covers. Put in there, and maybe that'll last a while. Those old seat covers like that normally last quite a while. It's had one in it, but it's all to pieces right now. So there's what's left of the old seat cover. So I can cut that out, put that new one in so I can keep my tushy clean. Well, vacuum this out and clean it up a little bit before I put it on though. And that carpet, I'll probably just pull that carpet out because of all that moss growing on it. Found out the windshield leaks a little bit in the corner of the dash over there is a little rusty, but it's nothing that can't be fixed in a full restoration. But for now, I'm just going to get it running and get it on the road. I think I might not even wash all this algae off of here. I may just leave that on there, make it look like it come fresh out of the field. I will clean the windows though, and the mirrors. All right, well, today is Thursday, March 18th. Didn't get as much accomplished this week as I wanted to. Had several days, about 4 days of downtime, because a couple days I was running around looking for parts. My transmission filter was delayed because it was damaged in shipping. Ordered it from Amazon. It was damaged in one of their facilities, so they sent it back. I never even saw it, so I ordered another one right away. And it came in yesterday, but yesterday we had some severe thunderstorms in the area and had tornadic activity close by. So I didn't get nothing accomplished yesterday, but we're going to see if we can get this transmission back together, get the valve body right here, get it bolted back in, get the filter on. I'm going to use a little bit of gasket sealer to put on there just to give a little extra seal, and get all that put together and see if we can get the transmission and engine mounted back together. Yeah, I was hoping by now to have the front clip back on the truck, have the engine transmission back in, the front clip back on, and getting close to being ready to crank it. But, like I said, delays. So, we're going to see how much we can get done tonight. It's already pretty late, so I don't know. I don't expect to get a whole lot done, but if I can get the transmission back together and mounted to the engine, I will call that pretty good. I may even see if I can get the headers on it tonight. But we'll get done when we can. All right, let's get started. Okay, well, I got the filter on. Now, whenever you're doing something like this, taking bolts out of something you're unfamiliar with, pay attention to your bolts, especially when you have multiple bolts like this, because some of them are different lengths. This one is longer than the rest of these, but these two are bigger bolts that are the same size as these. These mounting bolts that mount the valve body to the bottom of the transmission are larger than the filter bolts. And the reason these two are bigger is because they go through the filter and the valve body too. Then these just hold the valve body on. But this one is longer than the rest of these here. So whenever you take something like this apart, pay attention when you pull the bolts out, what location they were in and what length they are. Now if they're the same length like all these, it doesn't matter. But this one was longer. I made a mental note, and what you can even do, if you're able to, after you get the part out, put the bolt back in the hole it came out of. Then that way you keep them straight. All right, let's get some blue gasket sealer on this surface here, and then on the pan, and stick the gasket on and get the pan on. All right, we're going to check the stroke on this engine, and I'll show you how to do it. I learned this little trick from a YouTube channel called Thunderhead 289. He's got all kinds of helpful information on tuning and carbs, and this is how he showed how to check the stroke. He used a drinking straw out of like a fast food cup. But anything will work. You just don't want something solid that if it's going to bind, it's going to bend and get stuck in there or do any damage. Just want to make sure while you're doing this, you don't bind. I've got number one spark plug out. I loosened the spark plug, then I blew out the trash with an air hose out from around it so nothing gets down in there. Took the spark plug out. It's number one plug. It doesn't matter which one, just whichever one's easier. I just took this one out because it's right here next to where I'm turning the crankshaft. Now then, put it in there, and it's make sure it's not binding or rubbing too hard against something. When you stick it down in there, it should be right on top of the piston. And I'm going to take it down to bottom dead center. When it gets down to the bottom, you'll feel that dwell where it just doesn't move. Right there. Yeah, that's bottom dead center. Now then, we're going to make a good mark on this. Now you want to use the same reference point when you're making your mark. For me, I'm using this edge of the valve cover here. See, when I put it back in there, it goes right back to that same spot. Okay, so now let's get it up to top dead center now. Okay. Okay. Now we've got our two marks. So we're about to find out if this is really a 390. All right, you want to take your tape measure. And measure between your marks 3.5. So that means this engine is 352 because it has 1964 heads, and these are the top valve covers they normally put on 352s. So it's not the 390 like I thought it was. So doggone it, but 352 is still a good engine, and we're gonna run with it. It'll be all right. See here, got it wrote down here. 332 is 3.3. 352 and 360 are both 3.5. And 390 is 3.785. That's how long the stroke is. So these heads check out to 64. Right here, they say C4 AE. C4 means 64. Both heads are 64, so I'm sure they go with the block, which is not a problem. It's a good engine. It's just not what I thought it was. All right. So it doesn't explain where these emblems came from. So I don't know. I assume these emblems came off the same car this engine came out of. But they could have, and just the engine could have been changed in the past too. So kind of disappointed it's not a 390, but 352 is a good engine. It's just 390, a little more horsepower, a little stronger, but 352 is still good. There's 352 still got plenty of horsepower. Do what I want it to. Put it in that truck. All right. Put the spark plug back in it. Okay. Now I want to show you a tip on these cheap plug wires. A lot of times if you're in a hard spot and they're hard to get on the plug, this sleeve could actually slip. So what I normally do with them is I will push the plug wire through the center of the boot, and these shouldn't have to worry about it. These are a better plug wire, but some of the cheap ones, this boot will slide. When you go to hook the plug wire on the spark plug, it'll push against the end of it, and if you're pushing on the boot right here, it'll just slide the boot up, and the plug wire won't snap onto the plug. So that's what I did on my Trino. I just took, and because I bought cheap wires for it, just to get it up and running. And when I tried to plug these on my Trino, the boot slid off the wire. So I took and pushed the boot up, got it to clip on. You can feel it when it clicks. And after it clicked on, then I pushed the boot up onto the ceramic of the spark plug. So if you put on a new cheap set of plug wires and you get a misfire, check that. It could be because of that. Okay, well, this is going to end part 2 of this project. I didn't get as far along as I wanted to this week. Like I said, I had quite a bit of downtime, but I'm happy for today. We got our transmission back together, new filter, pan gasket, repaired that band that had fallen out. We got the Transmission mounted back on the engine. Got the torque converter bolted up and everything. Got the starter on. Changed out our oil filter bracket. I put the old oil filter back on there just to keep dirt out of it, and I'm afraid if I put the new one on, it's liable to get damaged while I'm putting it in the truck. So I just put the old one on now because I don't care if it gets damaged, and that'll keep dirt and trash out of the oil system, hopefully. And we measured her stroke, found out it's 352 instead of a 390. I was hoping it was 390. I thought it was 390, but it's not. Hopefully next video we'll have this in the truck and have the truck to where you can at least crank it and run it off of a jug. So, making progress, a little at a time. Every little bit helps. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. Be on the lookout for part 3 next week. That's going to do it for part 2. And subscribe, hit the like button, ring that bell if you want to get notified when my next video comes out. And appreciate y'all watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.